Welcome back. On today's episode, we're covering the fuel system. This topic has 3 parts, so we're going to split it into 3 episodes. In the first part, today's episode, we're covering the fuel system basics. After completing this topic, you will be able to identify fuel system components and their operation. In this segment, you will learn the purpose of the fuel system and how it operates. You will learn to identify the components used in a pump and line system and an electronic unit injection system, and identify the function of each component. You will be able to trace the flow of fuel through the system. Purpose of a fuel system. The amount of fuel the engine burns is directly related to the amount of required horsepower and torque. In general, the more fuel the engine receives, the more torque is available at the flywheel. The fuel system delivers clean fuel, at the right time and in the right quantity, to meet engine horsepower demand. The fuel system components match fuel delivery to engine horsepower demand by altering how much fuel is injected, and when it is injected. These functions are handled by the heart of the fuel system, the fuel injection pump. There are 2 broad categories of fuel systems, the pump and line system, and the electronic unit injection system. Fuel system components. A pump and line's fuel system consists of 1. A fuel tank. 2. Fuel filters. 3. Transfer pump. 4. Injection pump. 5. Governor. 6. Timing advance mechanism. 7. Fuel ratio control. 8. High-pressure fuel lines. 9. Low-pressure fuel lines. 10. Nozzles. And 11. A return line. Fuel tank. The fuel tank stores fuel. Fuel tanks are available in different sizes. You can find fuel tanks located in a variety of places, depending on the application. Fuel flow. Fuel begins to flow when you turn the key to start the engine. As you turn the key, a solenoid is actuated which allows fuel to flow from the transfer pump to the injection pump. Primary fuel filter. The fuel transfer pump pulls fuel from the tank through the primary fuel filter. The primary fuel filter removes large debris from the fuel. Water separator. Some fuel systems also have a water separator. The water separator allows any condensation or trapped water to settle out. Water in the fuel can cause serious engine damage. Fuel transfer pump. From the primary filter, fuel enters the transfer pump. The transfer pump provides flow throughout the low-pressure portion of the fuel system. The primary purpose of the fuel transfer pump is to keep an adequate supply of clean fuel in the injection pump. Final fuel filter. Fuel exits the fuel transfer pump and enters the secondary or final fuel filter. This filter screens minute particles and contaminants from the fuel, which could damage nozzles or plug injectors. Final filters are located between the transfer pump and the injection pump housing. Fuel filters have no bypass valves. Unlike oil filters, the fuel filters have no bypass valve. If the filters get clogged, fuel flow stops and the engine will not run. This protects the engine from dirty fuel. Priming pump. Most final fuel filters incorporate a fuel priming pump in the base. You can use the pump to prime the system if you have removed the fuel pump housing for a major service. The pump is also used to prime the fuel system after changing the fuel filter. Fuel injection pump housing. Fuel exits the final filter and flows into the fuel gallery within the injection pump housing. Pumps in the housing measure and pressurize the fuel. The housing is generally located near the front of the engine, because the pump is gear-driven from the camshaft. A timing advance unit, mechanical governor, and fuel ratio control are attached to the housing. High-pressure fuel lines. On pump and line systems, steel high-pressure fuel lines connect fuel injection pumps to nozzles. The high-pressure side of the fuel system consists of the high-pressure lines and the nozzles. Proper quantities of pressurized fuel travel through the high-pressure fuel lines to the fuel nozzles. Nozzle fuel travel. Nozzle fuel travels through high-pressure fuel lines to the nozzles. Nozzles are located in the cylinder head. How nozzles operate. Nozzles have valves that open when fuel pressure gets high enough. When the valve opens, fuel is atomized and sprayed into the combustion chamber. At the end of injection, there is a rapid pressure drop which closes the valve. Fuel return line. More fuel is available in the fuel injection pump housing than the engine can use. The return line. 1. Directs excess fuel back to the tank. 2. Removes air from the fuel. And 3. Cools the fuel by keeping it in motion. The fuel system will not operate correctly without a fuel return line. Fuel shutoff. Every fuel system has either electronic or manual methods of turning off the fuel supply. That's the end of Part 1, Fuel System Basics. Thanks for watching.